Hello, and thanks for joining the session this afternoon. Today we're going to be working on the website rewrite for that podcast again. On the last session, we did some more work with Flysystem, the Flysystem bundle, and the uploader bundle. Some of the cool things we were able to do, we were able to do some more work to customize where the file was actually going. And we also found out that we were able to automatically delete the functionality, or delete the functionality, right? Delete the old file. That was actually just the default behavior of the uploader bundle, so that was pretty cool. And we were also able to capture the width and the height of the image using a doctrine list, subscriber, I believe. So let's look at that real quick. Here we go. So the way that we did that was we had a pre-upload. We were able to, actually this wasn't a doctrine subscriber, this was something else. We were able to get the file before it was actually converted from an uploaded file, so we're still able to get the uploaded file, which allowed us to get the real path, which let us get the width and height. Marcus was on chat and mentioned that there was some sort of built-in functionality for getting the width and height. And one of the cool things that we looked at, but we didn't actually do anything with, is there's actually an embeddable file entity. So if we look in entity here, you can actually embed a file. So this is something I might eventually want to migrate to because it looks like it actually gets all sorts of cool information, including the dimensions. I didn't know that when we started out, so this might be something I'll look at in a little bit just to see if this is going to make sense. I haven't done any embedded doctrine entities before. Let's see, doctrine embedded. And what this is sort of giving Doctrinorm the ability to have almost like value objects. So you can have something that's embeddable. So you have a user that has an embedded class called address, and then the address class itself is embeddable and has information that maps to columns within the same table that represents whatever is embedding it. I remember this functionality was coming out and I was really excited about it, and then I stopped using Doctrine for like 5 years. So I never actually got to see this in action. So that might be something that would be kind of fun to do once we get things a little more stable here. So the way that this looked on the back end is pretty simple. I'm gonna have to log in here, and it actually gave us some little helpers, including this little chunk here of uploader image HTML that allowed us to actually display the image however we wanted to. It even hooks into the lightbox functionality that's built into EasyAdmin, so we can just go in and click and see the content. The problem we have here are all of the old images that are just actual HTTP URLs. We don't actually have the proper image. So what I'd like to do is look at the image, or look at the import functionality that we have and update that to actually import the images. So I think that's probably the first thing we'll tackle. And if we get that going well, I think I'd like to switch to being able to handle uploading of the MP3 files itself. So right now we have a media URL that represents the URL to the content as it exists today. We get that from the live export file. So if we look at export, we see the media URL is actually just a URL directly to where the audio is uploaded. This is the same sort of thing that we have for the background image. So this is actually a full URL. And if we look at our database, we'll see that in both cases we are just showing the URL in the database. So let's go here, episodes. Media URL has HTTP in it. The background image URL, in the case of the old files, or in the case of the original imports, we have the full path, full HTTP path. In the case of our uploaded content, it's just the file name. So we should be able to check for any of these background image URLs that start with HTTPS, or I think they're all HTTPS. So we could check to do that and then actually force, not really an upload in that sense, but actually import the images into the new system. So I'm going to take a look to do this part, see if we can do this in the actual import process, or if it makes sense to not do this on the import side, but maybe have another command that we can run to upcast all of these images from where they are now to actually being stored locally. The other thing that we did was we have the files that we're uploading are being stored in another directory called uploads, our uploads.podcast. So we're using Valet to treat this virtual directory as if it were some sort of remote file system. If we look down here, we can see uploads.podcast. It's just an empty directory that gets filled in as we upload things. So here are the two UUIDs, and that's where the files are located. So first of all, let's go check out what the import was. Was it import command? Ingest command, there we go. All right, so the functionality we had for this was that we get all of the episodes from the JSON file from the production site. For each one of those, we look to see if the episode repository contains the GUID for that episode. If it does exist, then we just ignore it. So this command was actually safe to be run multiple times. So I'm actually going to run this right now. It doesn't give any output, which is a little bit of a bummer, because it should actually be more useful than that and give us some output, but we just really needed to do what it needed to do. We did add the force command, and what this is going to do is override any of the existing information. So if we go back here now, we can see that the background image URL was originally something else. Where is it at? Background image URL. All right. So we no longer have the references that we had before to RedMike or Hexalinks, because we're actually updating the information directly from directly from the export itself. So let's go ahead and see what we're doing here. So we have refresh from, and then we persist. So let's look at exported episode. All right, so all exported. So this is the export itself. Right, okay, so what I think we did was this class here, the episodes class. Let's see, where was that? Here we go. It was actually taking in oh, right on. Got a chat message from Interest Inc. Enjoying the coding, but also wanted to mention your lighting and audio is on point. Thank you. I appreciate that. So yeah, so the bit that we're doing in here is we're actually using the JSON export to go right into episode. So we can look in episode itself to see what we're doing here. So we have import, JSON, there we go, from JSON export. So we are ripping the data directly from the JSON array. So where we are currently doing background image URL, what we would want to do at this point is probably get this information from somewhere else. So I don't know if I want to do it here, because I would make this function way more complicated than it needs to be. I wonder if we could do this as a part of a listener. Let's see what we have here. Because we have a doctrine subscriber that might be in another. Let's go ahead and look at the doctrine subscribers. Symfony doctrine subscriber. The listener subscribers. So I think what we want to do is maybe do this stuff as a part of a subscriber. So we have post update. This is getting post persist and post update. So I think we want to do an event subscriber. And that way, anytime it actually tries to do these things, we're going to do pre-persist and pre-update so that we can potentially override that background object at that point. No, that would be, okay. I'm going to change my mind on this because I don't really need to build this functionality for anything beyond the import. Export client. So I think I'm going to put it here. So if existing episode get background image URL, let's do I'm going to have to look this up because I shouldn't have to, but I'm going to anyway. PHP String starts with. I oftentimes get this wrong, so we'll do this. The string is going to be from the background image URL. So if it starts with HTTP, I'm going to actually take this a bit further. So string I think that's actually going to be 8. Yeah. Then in this case, we want to actually do something. So let's print the value. So we need our file system. Let's see. I wonder if I can do manual uploads. So background image. There we go. Form type. No, I don't want to do that. That's not what I was looking for. Oof. You need to download, and that's not what Vitch Uploader Bundle is meant to do. Upload a file without Symfony's file component. So it's an image file. Yeah, but how? image form type. Configuration reference. This is falling apart faster than I hoped it would. So I can probably put this there. The problem is that the episode itself, background image file. I think I could maybe pass that in. Background image file, image. What kind of file is that? All right. Let's see if we can do this the easy way. File equals new uploaded file. It takes a path, an original name, really? Okay. What else do we need here? MIME type. Let's just do it like this. The path, file upload path, the full temporary path to the file. Okay, and then the original name of the file uploaded. All right, so explode. Let's get why is that errored? Oh. So what we want is the last bit. So array reverse. Remember, if I can array reverse, does that, yeah, it returns an array. Dollar original file name. So we get the first item. All right, then we actually need to download the file to a temporary directory. Let's see what kind of awfulness we have here. All right, just to get this proof of concept, we're going to do this. Yeah. Actually, I don't know if it's going to work. I don't want to do that. So let's do all right, let's do get system temperature. All right, so I don't remember if I have Guzzle installed. Yeah, we do. Awesome. So let's go ahead and use this as is. So temp file. This is probably not a good way to generate the temp file because it's always going to have the same file name. I want to say there's get temp name. Temp name, yeah. String directory, temp foo. All right, so let's do this instead. Oh, my bad. I guess it was already doing that. I just wasn't paying nearly enough attention to it. So that's going to create a temporary file. Let's go back to the gist. Anything relevant in the file system component? Not yet. Oliver just asked on chat if there's anything relevant in the file system component. Possibly. This is just pure PHP, so I thought this might be a good way to go. I guess we'll have to see. Guzzle HTTP client. I imagine I'll know very soon if this is going to work or not. What's the handle? Yeah. Curl file is temp file. At least I'm guessing that's the case. Yeah, because handle. Ooh, handle was opening temp file. Oops. Let's see what this is actually. Attempt to retrieve the modification. Oh, the file that the transfer should be written to, default to standard out. Okay, cool. So that's still doesn't say, doesn't explicitly say that that's supposed to be a file resource, but everybody else is using it with a file resource. So I'm just going to assume that's what we do. All right, so write to handle. Let me get it. Here we're going to use the URL. All right, so that will get that URL in theory, and then fclose handle. And then this is path to where it lives. So let's do temp file. And then existing episode. All right, so then we can use this value now in both cases. And we try set background image file and see if this does anything useful. And try running this again. Ooh, all right. So attempt to call undefined method name send of class response. Does that make sense? Client get. I guess not. So get. Oh, okay. So that might have been an older version of Guzzle. We don't need send here. But let's, just for fun, make sure we print temp file. Or no, we'll do in case it works, we can see what it's actually trying to do. All right, so in theory, if we reload the page and this all worked, this should just work, which would be pretty awesome. over, well, I guess until it actually does the flush. There we go. Okay, so the background image URLs have all changed, which is more or less what we would have expected would happen. And it didn't happen until flush, which is more or less what we expected should happen. Uploads, type file. Cool. So here's our really great UUID of something very unique. Yeah, just work. I mean, this was exactly what I planned. If I reload this, we actually see everything. So that's cool. So we actually have all of this media content now local. Well, in this case, it's local, but it's actually being stored and handled in Flysystem. It just so happens that we're doing this on a local directory. So this was something that I wasn't 100% sure we'd get, but it's working. So I'm gonna allow it. Let's go to our test. This should mean we have all of the correct background images for everything. Bullet. Cool. All right. Well, I'm pretty excited about that. I wasn't sure that would work, but all right. So I'm going to delete the weird debugging code that I had here because clearly we don't need it. I do want to check to make sure that these files were cleaning up for themselves, though. Let's see here. Okay, that looks like a bunch of random stuff. So let's make sure that these specific, oof. All right. Let's try this again. Let's see if this file exists. Ooh, it does. Eek. But I don't know if that's because I canceled. So I'm gonna let this go through one more time. And also this will be interesting because these files have the same name. So hopefully they aren't actually going to be destroying themselves. So if you upload a file with the same name and it automatically deletes, I would assume they've covered that case, but I'd like to make sure. Oh. All right, so say what exists. Interesting. All right, that's an edge case I'll have to worry about another time. Let's do this. All right. Oh, yeah, we'll try it one more time and see. So ideally, I'd like to see this actually exit successfully and see if those temp files get deleted. All right. Yeah, so it's still there. I wonder if that's going to be a problem. Temp name, remove. Oh yeah, okay. The temporary file is also created to avoid race conditions. You need to remove the file in case you need it. You need to remove the file in case you need it no more. It's not out of that. That's very confusing English. Okay, so see if this works. And I'm going to do something else here. I'm going to break after 1. Just so that we don't have to sit through this whole thing every time. So I'm going to remove the contents, run this again, break. Oh. Link is greater than, say, 3. We're not going to do more than 3 at a time, just so that we can see this work. I wonder if that was going to happen. So images to unlink. Yeah, it keeps being empty. If I make it a collection beforehand, that might actually help. No. And if this works, I'll explain why in a second. All right, so when you're passing in values into a callback like this, I think if you pass an array, it's passing by value, not by reference. So even though we were adding items to images to unlink, it wasn't actually changing the outside images to unlink because that actual object or that actual array was a different array than the one that was sent into the function. So by making images to unlink a collection, that's making it an object, which means that it's being passed by reference. So let's see if it deleted these files. All right, so no such file or directory. So it looks like it did that correctly. I'm going to remove this. And I want to see if it's... we'll run this again and get all of them in there one more time. So the only thing that I'm not really accounting for very well here is if you try to run this force again, it's going to try and use the same name. I don't know if that's worth trying to solve on the Flysystem level. If we wanted to try and support it, we would need to look for... We need to have access to the mapping, and I'm not sure how we get the mapping. Don't find mapping. Let's find the files. Let me see what we're actually getting here. So let's do naming organizer. Metadata factory. Storage.filesystem. I wonder if I can, well, I probably can't just ask for the storage interface. Let's try. All right, so it's doing Flysystem. So what we need to do is be able to get access to the storage and specifically the mapping for episode background image. If we can find that, then I think we can probably find a way to figure out where we can find a way to ask the file system if that image already exists with that name. So what I think we need, clean. Here's listeners specifically for episode background image. I think there was some configuration reference. There might actually be an option to just inject unload, essentially override, or just go ahead and write over it. Inject file instance upon load. Doesn't look like it, unfortunately. All right, let's look at this one here. So this is an upload listener. So let's see if we can open that file. So that's event listener doctrine upload listener. Upload. So it's pre-processed, pre-update. Is uploadable. Okay, that's good. Adapter get object from arg. Okay, so what's the handler in this case? Okay, so it's 67. So let's go find that. Property mapping factory. Get mapping. Okay, upload. If not, has upload files, pre-upload. Storage upload object with mapping. So I think this would probably have to be updated here to ensure that it doesn't exist yet. So what other storages do we have? So we have Flysystem, do upload, do I wonder if it's Flysystem. Maybe Flysystem can be configured to let you override. Deterministic code. Plain PHP. It's probably the bundle. What was the name of the bundle again? One up. I forgot that URL was wrong. Redefinition, there we go. Let's run it again and see what the error is, so I can do more searching on that. Because I guess right now it's a little unclear. Oh, you know what? I'm going to do this with extra verbosity. It's unclear at this point why it's giving that error. Is it something that Flysystem is throwing? Is it something that the upload bundle is throwing? I guess I don't know. This will hopefully help clear that up. Let's see here. Okay, cool. So assert absent. So when we're writing the stream, And that's inside Flysystem storage. So let's go look at that. Oh, actually, no, it is. So Flysystem storage, line 39. So it's calling put stream. And it's actually the file system adapter that is giving the problem. So it's actually trying to make sure that the target is absent. So let's check. Where is it? File system. That's right stream. Assert absent path. File exists exception. Let's see how far back we have to roll this here. So we have upload, do upload, doctrine upload listener. All right. So I guess we're back to needing to find this, find if this file exists right away. So we need to find out how to get there. Oh, I didn't want to close that. There we go. So base listener, get uploadable file, metadata. Is this abstract? No, let's go to abstract storage. So property mapping. Okay. So the pieces that we need, we can probably get from here. So upload listener, this adapter, where's it getting adapter from? What's the base listener look like? All right, string mapping, great. So I think that might be this object that we were looking at. So let's see what happens. Let's see what happens when we pass that in. Well, what can I do with this again? Okay, let's do, no. Register mapping driver. Okay, here we go. So create listener, place name, reference, fetch uploader adapter dot driver. What are those? All right, so type driver, type name. All right, so let's go back to upload. So this is going to be the name, and then we need the adapter, metadata reader. No. So let's just try these two. See if we can even run this. No, cannot auto wire service. source exists. You should maybe alias it so then it lists them. All right, so let's do so we're going to create an alias to the specific service. So we're going to use bloater orm. Okay, cool. So we're at least getting the right object in. We're going to actually use that. Oh, we're going to actually use this now. So let's store it to I don't care about that. So let's see. So now we have an adapter. What was it? How was it doing that? It was using get object from args. Get uploadable fields. So we do need the metadata. I'm not even sure what I'm doing at this point. So I'm going to back up. Let's get rid of this for now and see if there's something we can do with the existing object. So we're setting it here if it has a background URL. If it doesn't, So this background URL at this point is always going to have an HTTP value. So what I think I can do is if there's an existing episode, it's going to import it. Essentially, I want to say if it had something that didn't look like this before, then try to delete the object. Or maybe don't download again. Maybe that's the best thing that I can do at that point. So if I do the same thing here, So it's only going to be in cases where it's already exists. I'm going to refresh from exported episode, but before I do that, I'm going to say if existing episode is not equal to that, and if the background image URL is not empty, should download image. Okay. Nah, something horrible happened there. Existing episode 89. Ah. All right, so this is causing it to happen. So all right, so these values, wow. All right, so if, oh, actually this is what the problem is. So if it's equal to HTTPS or empty, so if the background image URL contains HTTPS in it at the beginning, or if that URL is empty, the existing URL is empty, then we can download again. I don't know if I need this actually. Ugh. Okay. So that's happening because we already had a URL is equal to that. Should download is false. Okay. I'm going to delete everything from the DB. Okay, so those worked. Try it again. All right, so this didn't work like I thought it would. So media URL, background image URL. I think I might have to take a break on this one. Leave this where it was before, and think if there's a better way to handle this problem. Just a bummer because I thought this was going pretty well for a little while. But unfortunately, there's no easy way that I can see for me to figure out where that file exists. Let me see if I can do... background image file. I could do that, provided I had storage, access to the storage component. File, path. What else see we have here? Oh, let's just try this. All right, I think this is probably going to help me a bit. So I think I'm going to take a break on this and maybe we can pick this up tomorrow. Thank you all for joining. If you have any questions or comments or suggestions for this particular problem, feel free to add them to chat or send me an email or find me on Twitter. Otherwise, I will talk to you tomorrow and have a good night.